오늘은 이제 켈른에 왔고 켈른에서 살고 있는 19살 고등학생들 2명을 인터뷰하러 가고 있습니다. 그래서 오늘은 독일 교육에 대한 주제와 그리고 요즘 독일에서 이슈가 되고 있는 것들이 무엇이 있는지 그런 주제에 대한 얘기를 해보려고 합니다. Adrian? Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Do you want something?
Okay, we will start. Are you friendly with camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, first of all, could you introduce yourself first?
Yep.
My name is Mukta. I'm 18 years old.
Yeah, I'm also 18 years old, and we still go to the same school. And my name is Adrian.
Okay, so we were gonna talk about German education. So in Korea, we always respect about German education. So it's really good education system, kind of that. So I'm gonna ask that theme first. As a student, how do you personally experience the German education system?
Well, I don't know what exactly Koreans mean by that.
Yeah.
Because we in Germany, we always think that Koreans are so far ahead. We always think that Korean education, not only system, but the things you guys learn are so much more advanced than the things we do. So me personally, I don't really feel like German education system is necessarily better. It's easier, we have more time for us, but in general, I'm not the biggest fan of education system in general, because we don't really learn stuff that me personally I think that are important. For example, we never learn how to cook for ourselves. We don't learn which foods are important for us. We don't learn how to pay taxes, for example. And I think those are some basic things that if we don't have good parents who teach us that, then we kind of have to learn that ourselves, which I think school is the perfect place where they could teach us that, but they don't. So I think that is missing in every country almost.
Then what is the biggest problem in German education system?
Well, like I said, I think just every educational system is just missing basic knowledge. Not knowledge, but things that we should know. And it's a good thing if you want to work after school. The school system, the education system is perfect because they put you in a system where you wake up at a time and clock out at a certain time every day. So you get used to working 8 to 10 hours a day from the year of 6. If you want to work like that, the school system is perfect for you. But if you don't, they don't show you how to do that. They don't show you how to be independent, like you, for example. They don't show you how to travel the world and structure your own days. They don't show you that at all. They just show you how to fit in. And I think they should at least try to show you, hey, look, you can also do this and this. You don't have to do this or work there. So I think that is missing.
Yeah, I actually feel the same. For me, like creative stuff and practical stuff is missing because, for example, I learn way faster when I do practical things instead of theoretical things. So I feel like it would be very good if we had more practical skill, if we would learn practical skills in school, because we have different strengths and also weaknesses. So this would be very good if we would work more creative and practical.
But in Korea, we think like German students are debating very often. Is it true, do you think?
It depends on which subject. For example, philosophy, we do, but then again, it depends on who's teaching it.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it's just order and you have to do as you're told.
Yeah.
But I think that's almost everywhere the same. That's not just Germany, so...
Like when I search about the system in German, they say like a student's social background still has a strong influence on their future path. And do you agree about this opinion?
I would say yes, but it depends on who's the person we are talking about. So a lot of families who migrate from a different country want their children to have a better life. But that leads them to put them in a box and tell them you have to do this, you have to study this in order to have a good life. So that could pressure kids into doing something they don't really like. But it always depends on who the kid is. Maybe the kid just doesn't care and just goes on off to something else.
Both of you are second generation.
Yeah.
Then did you have any conflict with your parents about that kind of thing?
Me personally, not really, because my parents always said that I should pursue my dreams and basically I can do whatever I want, but they always said that I have to get the Abitur, so the highest possible education I can get in school. But other than that, I would say not really. No conflicts. So.
You too? Yeah, the same. So my mom is from Korea and she grew up with the Korean education system. So at first she was very strict about it. She said, I have to go to gymnasium to get the Abitur and stuff. But after some time with talking with my grandma also, she kind of loosened up a bit. So she just said, I should do this to open up my doors, but I can just basically do whatever I want after that. She just wants to know that I have the options to do everything, but she doesn't force me to do anything I don't want to do.
Then, as teenagers, what kind of social pressures do you feel more strongly right now as a student?
I think it's just nowadays everyone wants to fit in, and people are scared to be weird or not accepted. And I think that is just keeping people from unleashing their true potential. Because like I said before, we are being put in a system from age 6. So we don't know anything else. So for example, for you to go around the world and travel, that takes so much courage. So you're so much more brave than everyone who didn't try. Because everyone has something, but they just don't want to be seen as weird or you don't fit in, what are you doing? But they don't want to hear that people say that won't work. But as soon as you just shut that out and don't fold under that pressure you put on yourself, you hear from everybody else, then you will truly live your fullest life. And I think it's difficult for everyone to not fall under that.
Yeah, that's true. I would also say, in general, the fear of making mistakes is a big problem for teenagers because they always just want to have a steady job and something, and instead of really pursuing their dreams, they often just stick to steady jobs, like I said. And I think that many teenagers are just scared to try something new, to think out of the box. For example, jobs like social media, making social media content, or just working independent. These are just new things that many students and also younger people don't really try to fulfill, even if this would be a dream of them.
Don't you feel pressure that we ask you about just a heavy question?
Oh, no, it's
No, it's okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Then what's your dream? What is your dream now?
My dream? I want to contribute as much as I can to make the world better. And I know that to achieve that, having money definitely helps. For example, donate to places, donate to people. Yeah, that is my biggest dream, being the best man I can be and having such a big influence that I can change. It doesn't even have to be alive, just making someone's day better, making someone laugh, or making someone feel better about themselves.
And I would say for me, just experiencing the world. For example, when I have kids, I just want to tell stories to them. For example, many things I have experienced, the countries I have visited, and just the cultures I have experienced. And this would be one of my biggest dreams, to just see the world and just having many stories to tell.
Then what do you mean by making a world better? What does that mean?
Sharing my perspective, making people realize what they can be, making people want to grow. Because I think nowadays people don't want to grow, they just want to stay comfortable, which is, by staying comfortable they're just killing themselves. If you always stay where you are, you're never going to grow, but as soon as you feel the taste of success, of happiness, you will never want to stop. And I want to make people realize that they can be so much more than they think. Because I think one of the saddest things is just wasted life, wasted potential. And everyone has potential, so...
Then why do you think most of the people feel barrier of their challenging?
I think it's mainly because it's uncomfortable to just experience new things. And for example, if you want to start with sports or something like that, they're just afraid to try, I would think. Yeah, mainly like I said, because it's uncomfortable or because they are scared to that the plan don't will work out or something like that. And yeah.
It's pretty much just like you said, and I also think that every human being, when you ask them when they were a child, what is your dream? They would have said something insane, something I want to become an astronaut, I want to grow a company, and then over time they lose that ambition, they lose that delusion, they become realistic. The problem with that is that they don't realize that everything can be achieved, and that self-doubt they get that from not trusting themselves. For example, if you talk to a friend and you tell them, okay, we're gonna meet up every Friday to learn for uni on 4 p.m. or whatever, and so next week you show up and he isn't there, so you learn alone. And then the week after that he isn't there, and the week after that, after some time you won't trust him anymore. You'll just think, okay, he won't come anyways, I'll just go alone. And that's the same with yourself. If you always say to yourself, I am going to make my bed, and you never make your bed, you start to lose trust in yourself. So then after some time you'll think, I won't be able to do that, I know I won't be able to do that. Because over time you have proven to yourself that you're not capable of certain things. But if you do that every day, if you do make your bed, if you do eat healthy, if you do all those things, you stack up all this proof to yourself that you are capable of all these things. And you can apply that to anything. So it's starting from small things and building up.
Then okay, I want to ask some more casual question too.
Yep.
So like as a teenager, how does your generation flirt?
Back then, the divorce rate, for example, wasn't as nearly as high as now. And dating multiple people in your lifetime was kind of weird also. Or dating or cheating on someone was like almost a sin. Nowadays it's so much more casual. Well, either it's casual or it's wrong, however you want to look at it. But people don't really date with the intention to live together. It's just almost a hobby for a lot of people, which I think is weird, but most people in this generation think like that. And well, even though I think it is weird, if they both mutually think that way, then I guess.
Yeah, but many call it it's just a phase. For example, so you have to gain experience, you have to find multiple partners to do whatever they want, basically. And yeah, if you speak about this, they always say it is like, yeah, I need to gain experience. It's just a phase. I'm still young. But I would say it's like the biggest change over time. And I don't feel like it's right, but yeah, many people in our age feel like this, so.
And do the students also use the dating apps?
Sorry?
Students also using the dating app?
Yeah, some of them are.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with social media, people have a lot more access to other
very
people.
easy, yeah.
So dating apps, I don't think that they need that, to be honest. So
Yeah, that's right. I think many people get to know each other from social media, for example, Instagram or Snapchat. But I do know some people from my school that are using apps like Parship, for example, already.
And then I heard that in your age, like teenagers have really big issue now about army. So could you explain that kind of issue?
well, obviously over the past years, the members of our army has dropped tremendously, and with potential threats of Russia, America, Germany wants to obviously stack up also. But then again, forcing teenagers or forcing young grown-ups to join the army is not only just I'll just say contradicting. It's contradicting our basic human rights. So first of all that, and second of all, no one wants to risk or put their lives at risk for a conflict that could have been avoided and is led by people who don't even put their own lives on the line. Like they just use human lives as chess pieces and throw them in, and just if they die, they're gone. It's just okay. Next one, next army, next people, next flood. They don't care. So people don't want to sacrifice taking care of their family, their children at home, their lives for basically nothing.
Yeah, that's true. and also just the idea of fighting, for example, for the politicians. So, because we are not the people that are leading a whole country to a war, but all the 18-year-olds would be the people that will fight for Germany. And even if they don't want to do that, they basically would have to participate in a war. And I think many people in our age are just not okay with the idea of fighting a war, because it's just horrible. Like, history repeats itself always.
Is it okay to talk about some parties, like about parties in Germany?
Yeah,
Then another thing I'm curious about is there is some growing support for conservative parties in Germany and across Europe too. I think the EU has the conservative parties too.
Yeah,
So why
that's
do you
true.
think that happened?
Well, to put it simply, if everything goes wrong, there's always someone who takes the blame. And obviously they won't take the blame themselves, so they have to search for someone who they can just put all the blame on. And people who migrated are just an easier target for that.
And for example, they often say like the immigrants are taking our jobs, or just that they do all the crimes in Germany. And they always say like he said, blames these problems on immigrants, and say that if we get rid of them, so all these problems would stop. So they often blame immigrants for the problems all the Germans have.
I got it. Then is there any more social issues in Germany that I don't talking about?
Well, social issues, I think, I'm not sure how it is in Korea, but I feel like Germany is, from the things that I've heard from my mother, for example, Germany is more open about being gay, for example. But that obviously leads to controversy, because a lot of people don't support that. But with LGBTQ, etc. growing, people who do not support it also keep on growing. So that divided space between our society keeps on growing also.
Yeah, that's true. For example, we live in Cologne here, and I would say that the people that live here are very open-minded, for example, to gay people. But like in many other Bundesländer in Deutschland, there are still people that are thinking very conservative. So they don't really like the idea of two men marrying, for example, even though it's possible. So yeah, that's a little bit, I would say the community in Cologne is very more open-minded than in other parts of Germany.
Is there any like that queer couple in your high school too?
Well, there's this thing called Schule mit Courage, which is like just a title for a school that proves that they're not racist and stuff like that. And proves that they're very accepted for gays, etc., trans. And we at our school actually had a small altercation with teachers and the school newspaper.
Yeah.
Because some author who's trans wrote a book, and they wanted students to give their opinion about it, but instead of giving their opinion about the book, they just shitstorm the author for being trans. We actually do have a few transgenders, I think, in our school.
Yeah, could be, but I don't know any personally. But I mean, we are 1,000 students in the school, so yeah, we have probably people that are gay or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, might be.
Then like, what is the most underrated values in this modern society, do you think?
Just trying every day. Just trying, being there, showing up. Because people nowadays always lay so much value on materialistic things. They want something they can snap a picture of and post, they can show off to. But small gestures, like showing up for that thing that no one really cared about, that is really important to you, that you have someone that showed up, even though they don't even like it. They're just there for you. Or your mom cooking a meal every day for you, so that you have food, warm food. Trying, even though you don't like the food, you don't have to like the food, you don't have to like anything, but the fact that they tried, the fact that you tried, the fact that you were there, I think that is very overlooked nowadays.
And I would say, for example, just being grateful for everything you have. Because I feel like so many people just take everything for granted nowadays. So, for example, that we live in a fairly safe country, and also basically having all the riches, because Europe is like a rich continent, I would say. And just having food on the table, living, having a house, having an apartment, having a loving family. These are all things that we should be grateful for. And I think nowadays, yeah, many people just don't appreciate it like before.
Then in opposite of that, what is the overestimated value in this modern society, do you think?
I think being liked, because you can't be liked by everyone, and you won't be liked by everyone, and that's totally fine, because you don't want to change for everyone and change everything that makes you you. And I'm not talking about things that make you better, just changing for someone or something that is necessary. And even if someone knew me and they didn't like me, that's up to them. It's fair. If you don't like me, then I guess you don't like me.
Yeah, it's true. You just always have to stick to yourself, like don't change for other people, and yeah, basically share his opinion, so I don't have really nothing to add to that. Yeah.